Welcome back, everyone. This is MandoAllDay, back with another video. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Batman Shadow War hardcover. As always, we're going to be talking about a little bit of story, the art, and of course, if it's worth your purchase or not. But before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So, let's take a look in the front of the dust jacket, the spine, the back. And I really like this art. Pretty cool art. Let's take a look what's underneath the book, or the dust jacket, I should say. Come on. There we go. Front of the book. The spine. And the back. And of course, we'll do a full image so you can see the full art, which looks really cool. There you go, much better. Alright. So, let's take a look at what's inside. Now, what is this book about? And essentially what a book is about is, unfortunately, Ra's al Ghul, right here, he is going to give a speech. Again, I'm going to be vague, so I don't want to give away too much of a story, but in this story, it's Ra's al Ghul wants to give a speech about certain things, which again, I'm not going to say or specify, because again, I don't want to spoil it. But while he's giving that speech, he does get assassinated by Deathstroke. Now, they are on the hunt of Deathstroke and wanting to know why he killed Ra's al Ghul. Now, you might think, oh, it's a big spoiler. Not really, because within the first chapter, within this first issue or chapter, however you want to call it, all this happens. Like, I kid you not. So, by the end of the first chapter, and again, it's a pretty thick book. Well, not thick, but pretty good amount. By the end of the first chapter, which is like around this much, give or take, you know, exactly what happened. What I just mentioned does happen. And so, like I said, it mainly is about that Ra's al Ghul gets assassinated by Deathstroke. Now they are on the hunt for Deathstroke and wanting to know why he did what he did. But while they're doing that, they actually find out that it was not a Deathstroke, it was someone else. Aha. And that is the main plot of the story, where they're trying to hunt down Deathstroke and trying to get more answers. More importantly, if it wasn't Deathstroke, who was it? And again, if you think that's a spoiler, not really, because within that first chapter, I kid you not, the way it ends just like what I just said. So don't think it's a spoiler, because it's not. But regardless, though, even though it's a simple premise, a simple plot, I gotta say, though, this is a really fun story, man. The story is really good. Very well written. And it's a lot of fun, man. And I really dig it, because what I like about it, even though this is Batman Shadow War, this is mainly more like a Deathstroke kind of story, because it really does show Deathstroke, his strengths, how he adapts to certain environments. I mean, like I said, they're on the hunt, and I say they, I mean Batman's on the hunt for Deathstroke, and the League of Assassins, like an entire League of Assassins, are in a hunt for Deathstroke. And you really see how Deathstroke adapts to the environment, how really kind of, you know, he's one step ahead, and how he's like one of the most dangerous and best assassins out there in DC Comics. And this book does really shine on that, and I really like that. And again, really fun story. Again, simple premise. Again, here you go. This is how it ends right here. This is the first issue. It ends with just like what I mentioned. He's being accused of killing Ra's al Ghul. Now, of course, as the story progresses, you kind of find out who did it, who did actually kill Ra's al Ghul and why. And again, you see more of that. But overall, though, I had a really good time with this story. This is such a fun story. This is one of those things where you can just turn off your brain, laid back, and just read a good, fun story with a lot of action. You can see here. And again, it's Slade Wilson, it's Deathstroke, and there's a lot of violence in here, which I really like. And the art is really good. I really dig the art. So much going on, especially the action scenes. Because when there's like action scenes, well, not scenes, but you get what I mean. When there's action in the comic, it's very brutal, man. Hands chopped off, blood everywhere. It's so much fun. And I'm bringing this up because this does have that matte paper, which it's unfortunate for this story, because I think for this story, it would have definitely benefited from the gloss paper to make that color pop, because the art is really good, man. And like I said, it's very brutal, and you definitely see a lot of violence in here, which I really dig. And again, this is Deathstroke. This is, well, it does say Batman Shadow War, but this is mainly the Deathstroke story. You really see how he adapts, like I mentioned. And it's a really fun story, man, and I really dig the story. It's a lot of fun. Again, you don't have to have prior knowledge. Well, sort of. Because they do mention of something that happens prior to this. They mention about Robin in the Lazarus Pit tournament. And I personally have not read it, so I'm not familiar with it. So when that, when they start talking about what happened in that story, I wasn't too completely lost. I was a bit lost when they introduced certain characters. I was like, wait a minute, who's this? I don't know who this is. But they do reference to the Robin, Lazarus tournament storyline. So, do you have to have prior knowledge? Not really, because to be honest with you, I just bought this book because it was on sale 50% off. The cover looked cool, and I saw Deathstroke in it and Batman. I'm like, dude, you can't go wrong. And I was right, man. This is such a fun story. I had a really good time with this story. The pacing, it was really good, fairly quickly. I read this in one day. Just to put it into perspective, man. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of action. And I gotta say that, man, I dig it. I think it's a fantastic story. Again, I'm digging it, man. Now, is this one of those stories with very character development in depth? Not really. I mean, there is some layers to certain characters. But to be honest with you, it's... the way I can describe it, this is just like a great summer blockbuster movie. Think of it like that. So if you go into it, that kind of having that expectation, you're gonna have a lot of fun, have a good time. And I went into that. The only story, and actually this is gonna be the story that I've kind of felt like it slowed down the pacing. It's gonna be Talia's story, which I won't go into what it's about. But when this story comes into play, it really drags down the story because everything else leading up to it. Again, fast-paced, action-packed, exciting. It's progressing the story along very well. You see Deathstroke adapting to his environment, how he thinks. Of course, Batman and his interaction with Damian. And of course, the League of Shadows. Like, all this is going on. And then this part of the story does drag it down a little bit. Is it horrible? Not really. You understand it because it does connect it towards the end of the story. So, you do have to read it. But I will say, though, this is the part that I kind of felt like, ugh. Really, come on, like, speed it up. But apart from that, though, I had a really good time for the story. You get cameos for Ghostmaker, Clown Hunter, Batman Inc., Deathstroke Inc., and of course, the League of Shadows. And again, all this is in one book, and they're all going at it each other. I mean, it's a lot of chaos, but it's a lot of fun, man. So, to me, Batman Shadow War, thumbs up for me. I really, really dig it. I had a really good time with this story. And yeah, man, I would highly, highly recommend reading Batman Shadow War. Thumbs up for me. Let me know what you guys think. Have you read this book? Do you plan on reading this book? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not the support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So that concludes an overview of Batman Shadow War hardcover, and on to the next one.